Well, let's speak to Askold Krushelnycky, who is the Times correspondent in Ukraine. Askold, where are you right now?
I'm near the city. I'm on the outskirts of the city of Niprov, which is a major city in the southeast of Ukraine.
Well, tell us about, let's begin by talking about these warnings. I mean, on the one hand, we're being told that people don't have to evacuate from Kherson. This is an opportunity to go and study and take a break in Russia. But essentially, they're telling people to get out, aren't they?
They are, but the Ukrainian government itself has been asking people that Ukrainian residents of Kherson city, which is the capital of the Kherson region, and other places on the path of the Ukrainian advance, to get out, even if it means going to Russian-occupied territory or Russia itself, because they've warned that they're advancing, they're going to try to take Kherson city and the whole of the region, and they've asked people to try to get to safer places. I suspect that the people who are actually going to heed these Russian requests to leave are people who have been cooperating or collaborating with the Russian authorities, and they will be worried, those people, about retribution if those areas are recaptured by the Ukrainian forces.
And it's worth really reinforcing here that the majority of people in that region are pro-Ukraine.
Yes, indeed. I mean, we saw a couple of weeks ago a sham referendum being carried out there in Putin's on his instructions as a precursor to annexing that area. And we saw videos of soldiers accompanying so-called election workers and sort of forcing people, trying to force people to vote, and knocking on doors and shouting, and the doors not being open. Nevertheless, there were fantastic figures, like 97% of those people apparently wanted to join Russia. So the vast majority of people are waiting for their region to be retaken by Ukrainian forces.
Let's also talk about this upping the ante again by Vladimir Putin, talking about if Ukraine joins NATO, which of course they have applied to do to be fast-tracked, it would be the start of World War III. Once again, just ratcheting up the rhetoric.
He's warned over the last month or so about using tactical nuclear weapons, which are so-called smaller versions of the huge nuclear weapons that would be used by rockets firing from, say, Russia at Britain or Western Europe or America. Nevertheless, they would cause a kind of damage that Japan suffered at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So he has upped the ante. He knows that Ukraine isn't going to be joining NATO anytime soon. In Ukraine, people don't expect to join until this war is over, because it's against the NATO kind of regulations that countries at war are not incorporated into NATO. But it's a sign, I think, of his flailing around for some kind of response, as his forces suffer more setbacks on the battlefield, and he's finding that the world is not supporting him in the way that he wanted. There was a UN vote on these so-called annexations or attempts, and the UN voted enormously, overwhelmingly, to condemn Russia. So he's losing on the diplomatic front, on the battlefields, and he's flailing around. And the only way he can respond at the moment, he thinks, is to threaten the world with nuclear war.
And let's also talk about conversations between the Russian president and his Turkish counterpart, President Erdogan. Some proposal of building a gas hub in Turkey. What's being proposed and how realistic is this?
Well, this is effectively a huge bribe that's being offered by Putin and Russia to Turkey. Turkey has not declared in favor of Ukraine or Russia. President Erdogan of Turkey has been working to try to mediate some kind of meeting between the Russian and Ukrainian presidents. But Turkey has been supplying Ukraine with sophisticated drones called Bayraktar, which have been devastatingly effective against Russian forces. And the feeling is that lots of Turks, the preponderance of Turks are supporters of Ukraine, especially as a Turkic people called the Crimean Tatars, who are the indigenous people to in Crimea, have been suffering greatly under Russian occupation. So there's a sympathy for their ethnic kin there. So I don't think Putin should be holding his breath on getting a big deal out of President Erdogan or Turkey.